All right, you guys. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I really enjoyed this song, Playing God by Polyphia.
Stop! Top defender in the history of the NBA.
Stop!
I'm usually good with names too, but I keep wanting to say Polyphia, and I know that's not right. But yeah, this is a little video. I guess they do these regularly, where they go over the whole process of making the song, and this ought to be really interesting. I will say, this nigga does not look how I thought he would, bro. I guess that's why you don't judge a book by the cover, right? Not saying he looks bad, just not what I expected. Regardless of that, he made some pretty darn good music, so let's give it a watch.
Hey friends, I'm back again with another.
And that's not what I expected him to sound like. Bro, the stereotypes are strong today. I should be a cop with how much I'm profiling. I do a pretty good job.
Another making of video, this time for our song Playing God off of our new album Remember That You Will Die. If you haven't already, please do yourself a favor by checking out the
Remember that
music
you
video
will die. Alrighty.
Here, and then coming back to this video right here. Our story begins in 2019, August. I had a session with Heavy Mellow, who if you are unfamiliar with is a goated producer and guitar player. Because of that, I wanted to pull up to the session and make some really crazy stuff really quickly. So in about an hour and a half, I came up with two ideas, the first of them being this. Heavy gave me a gospel chord progression, something with a lot of 7 chords.
Listen to how funky that is, bro. He took a gospel progression and played it on a funky guitar. That's nice. That's the kind of creativity that I was talking about when we listened to the song originally. We're not even a minute in, and I'm already loving this.
So once I riffed it out, it ended up sounding something like saucy.
I don't like that animation though. Y'all can keep all that. I don't. No, thank you. That's not for me. I don't like what I'm looking at. Is that an amoeba? Like with.
So yeah, the next idea ended up being Playing God as you all know it. He had an omnichord in his studio, and I'd never seen an omnichord before. For those of you that don't know what an omnichord is, this is an omnichord.
I still don't know what I'm looking at. What is that?
So on the left side here, you can see that they have a bunch of buttons for different chords. You can change the quality of the chord as well. And then on the right side, there's this touchpad that kind of arpeggiates the chord for you, and depending on where you hit, whether it's on the low side or the high side, it arpeggiates different octaves. So after messing around with the omnichord, we thought, hey, this sounds kind of classical, and I happen to have my Ibanez nylon string with me, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. I wanted to emulate this. And that ended up sounding like this.
Yo, see, I thought that was like a bunch of different layers on the DAW, on the digital audio workstation, that he was just putting together. But no, he's just playing that straight up, like that was one layer. That's crazy. That's so dope.
So anyways, fast forward to September.
And like I can barely play like 2 strings on the guitar at the same time, let alone whatever the heck that was. I was thoroughly convinced that was like 4 different things going on at the same time.
We had about a week-long session at my house, which essentially was, you know, a week-long sleepover with the boys, and we got to invite Wes Houck. And for those of you who don't know Wes, he's an incredible guitar player. He plays for a band called Alluvial, so please go check them out if you haven't already. Wes actually blessed us with some of my favorite parts of this song, including and the classic Animal Crossing section.
Shout out to KK Slider.
Wes told us, I think, that his guitar teacher had showed him that chord progression a long, long time ago when he first started playing. So shout out Wes and shout out his guitar teacher. After that, Scott had came up with this cool idea to kind of do like this pick scrape over the chords to kind of give it this shaker effect. Really nice subtle touch there. Speaking of Scott and his contributions, Scott added this insane riff right here. All the different nuances that are happening between each guitar. You just have this wonderful meshing of intertwining melodies and lots of pretty bell-sounding harmonics. Scott told me that the inspiration behind that was just moving to the nylon guitar.
He said moving to the nylon guitar. Just moving to it, as if that doesn't mean, hey, just feel it out, bro. Just feel it out. Just wing it. Oh my goodness. Have you ever looked at someone do something and you're like, man, they're so good, I have no idea what's even going on? That's how I feel. That's how I feel looking at this.
The way that the guitar is set up just kind of lended itself to that style of playing.
Basically what I'm trying to say here is the guitar inspired like an entirely new way of thinking of playing and writing. So I guess that's kind of when we told Ibanez, we need this.
So fast forward to October, we had sent the demo of this song over to Ibanez to try and convince them to make us new versions of this. This guitar had basically been a commercial flop in 1998, so they were pretty skeptical to make a new one. After hearing the demo, they agreed, and then they made us this, the final version, the TOD10N, which is incredible. And you guys are
That
all
looks nice.
really want one.
That
A
looks
lot of
really
people seem to
nice.
be pretty confused about this guitar. There is a sound hole right at the top, so as you're playing it, the sound travels and hits your face, which is a really nice touch. So after passing the song to Scott and Wes, it was now my turn to try and complete it. Starting from the beat switch around Wes's bossa nova section, I could hear so many melodies on top of this. I finally landed on this one. And after listening to it back, I thought to myself, dude, this melody is so good, it needs to be whistled. So I got on Fiverr and I hired a guy to whistle for $32. He will professionally whistle anything that you send him. I tracked it on guitar and I sent him this. And I'm reaffirmed in this being one of my best melodies ever, because even he said, it took me about 5 hours to get it done, but I enjoyed doing it since the melody is so good to the ears. Thank you, Sash Tanaje. Anyways, this is the whistle that I got back from him. This is without auto-tune or anything. So I tuned it. I even sent him this counter melody.
Wow.
And he did send me that melody back, but I didn't end up using it, so that's right here. But anyways, yeah, for $32, an incredible deal. Shout out that guy. If you guys ever get on Fiverr, there's plenty of people on there to do really dope shit for you. So after making the melody, the rest of the song kind of just writes itself. As you can see, we have this riff next.
What makes a lot of this so cool? Two aspects that make all of this really cool. So many different instruments and layers to this, and a lot of them are really strong. So you think that they would sort of conflict. It's like trying to have more than one main actor on a stage of a play. it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Someone has to be the lead actor, right? And then you need to have side roles. But they found a very, very nice balance of all of these strong melodies that can like really work well with one another while maintaining that same level of strength. It's really cool the way that they used, like they took what could be standalone melodies and standalone chords or whatever. I'm not super educated on the differences between all of those. But these things that could stand alone on a song, but in order to make them fit with the melody that ended up taking the lead, is they turned them into instruments and sounds that complement the main one well. So, it's just so cool. It's so cool how they did that. And then the other thing that makes this like just really dope is it seems like they just knew exactly what sounds to make these into in the first place. Because that is a very hard thing to do. And when you have as many options as you do on these DAWs, like it can be overwhelming, but it almost seems like they knew exactly what to do with each part of the song. That's a level of expertise that I wish I could have, man. Like producers of this level in general, it's so cool just admiring how they just know. Obviously they put in a ton of hours of work, right? So it's not as if they just woke up and said, this is what the song is exactly going to sound like. But it sounds like throughout the process, they just kind of passed it back and forth. And they thought, wow, it's really cool what they did with this. And I feel like I know what to add to it. That's kind of the vibe that it's giving off. And it's just, it's insane. It's insane.
That might sound pretty complicated, but in reality it's just the melody mixed with the chords, mixed with some extra flexing in between all the phrases, which is just, some classic polyphia stuff. What we're going to do is copy over the melody over this section, go ahead and pitch it up an octave, and then turn it up so that we can hear it a bit better.
So it is polyphia.
So this way we can see how the melody overlaps with what we're looking for. See that whole section right there is just a flex. So what we want to do is highlight that for something that we're going to do here in a second. Same thing here. We can mute this because we don't need that. So one thing that I like to do to separate the flexes from the main melody line is copy up here to another lane, and what we're going to do is change the warp to complex pro. We're going to pitch it up an octave, and then we're going to take the format all the way down. So before we even do that, this is what this part sounds like isolated. Alright, so pitch it up, and then change it to complex pro, and then take the format all the way down, and it sounds like this. It gives it this bit crushed chipmunk kind of sound, so layered on top, it sounds like this. Makes the flex pop a bit from the main lead line. So yeah, that's what I like to do to kind of spice things up in a section like this. And then over here, the classic Omnisphere arpeggiator. One specific patch that I love to use often when I'm trying to figure out an arpeggiated guitar part is the strap muted and then just turning on the arpeggio right here. I think this is just the default pattern, but it worked really well in this instance. This was a real big bitch to try and figure out how to play.
This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, that sounds like you're doing a bunch of different things on a bunch of different layers of the song. It's just one track. Like, listening to that, you would swear that would be like 2 or 3 tracks as one track. He's doing it all at once. I don't know, maybe this is a common thing for people who are good at guitar, but I mean, you rarely see anybody play like this. So I'm not saying necessarily that playing faster is better, right? But just the fact that you're getting such precise sounds, you're getting it to sound exactly like you want, all in just one go, is I would never would have thought. I never would have thought.
So that wraps up all the guitar playing on the song. Now to highlight some of the additional production. Here we have some clever
Here we
vocal
go.
lines sang by Y2K that are tucked into the background.
He's getting it. He's definitely getting it.
Speaking of vocal lines, Johan Lennox blessed us with these at the very end.
Ooh, that's nice.
Very angelic. And then of course all the string sections throughout the song.
I paid good money to get those stems. I paid good money for those stems. Those are nice.
Fun fact, all the strings were recorded with real violins. This is one of my favorite sections right here. This part just sounds like James Bond to me.
Yeah.
Lastly, I wanted to shout out Judge and No Trust for helping with the structural backbone of the song, providing us with most of the electronic drums and 808s. And then of course the Clays, who have the very difficult job of translating beats into playable bass and drum parts.
Okay, so that was a bass guitar.
Okay everyone, thank you all for watching this video, and stay tuned for more videos for my making of series, especially as our new album, Remember That You Will Die.
I thought that was a rabbit for a second. I was like, huh? But at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised. This was really dope. I very much enjoyed watching the process. This was a little different. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, stick around. If you didn't, maybe still stick around, please. Maybe you'll find something you enjoy eventually. No, yeah, that'll be it. I'm out. Deuces.